I probably made all the mistake a founder would do, a first time founder. It was more of done out of passion than rather than मेरे को entrepreneur बनना was more of a driver rather than solving problem. Fair question, right? In fact, there is a saying I read some tweet some days back: CAC kills fintech, unit economics kills e-commerce, and stock-based compensation kills SaaS companies.
What would be your top 3 takeaways for budding entrepreneurs? Top 3 don'ts, I would say. Do's तो बहुत लोग बोलते हैं. Top 3 don'ts for a budding entrepreneur.
I think only one. Don't start it.
Hello and welcome to one more exciting episode of Fintech Ki Baat Till Se Season 2. In today's episode, we have with us Ajinkya Kulkarni, founder of Wint Wealth. Hey Ajinkya, it's a pleasure having you here and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Shreyas, for having me.
It's pleasure is all mine. So Wint Wealth, right? Wint Wealth essentially is a startup that is kind of addressing a very niche segment in the Indian wealth tech ecosystem. They have built a platform that allows retail investors to invest and get around 9 to 11% returns with almost zero risk. So the instrument that they use and how the platform works will all be explained by Ajinkya in the later segment. But before we get to it, let's take a step back and jump into Ajinkya's entrepreneurial journey. So Ajinkya, over to you. Just a quick background of yourself and how it all started for you.
Sure. So I graduated in 2012, right? And then I worked in my father's business for a couple of years. Then started my first startup. It was a B2B commerce venture. Then we pivoted it to an invest build discounting platform.
Okay.
It didn't work out great, but we are acquired by Flexi Loan in late 2016.
What was the name of this company?
The name was creditperiod.com.
So Credit Period, right, was a startup that you kind of did back in 2015. And in build discounting platform from a supply chain perspective for vendors. So just a brief about what exactly it was it.
Yeah, so basically what we started was a B2B e-commerce platform, right? We used to sell raw materials to SMEs, right?
Right.
We used to provide them very good rates, but what we realized, why we are able to get good rates is because we are paying the suppliers immediately after they deliver. Generally, SMEs pay after 60 days or 90 days, right? And therefore the prices go high, right? So
right.
Can we not just give them credit to these SMEs and they will buy themselves, because they can pay their supplier immediately. They can also get good rates, right? So the value addition we are actually doing is giving them that period to pay up, right? So that's how from a B2B commerce venture we pivoted to invoice build discounting platform. And idea was like when a SME goes into stress, there are steps by steps you can see that risk increasing, right? So if you can monitor the risk, if you can detect the risk early, you can get out early, because invoice bill discounting is a slow, it's a low tenure product, right? 3 months.
Got it.
2 months etc. So that was the idea of credit.
Interesting. So that got acquired by Flexi Loans.
Yes.
And after that, what was the journey like?
Yeah. So in fact, there were a lot of learnings in the credit period journey. I probably made all the mistake a founder would do, a first time founder would do, but had many learnings. So it was very clear कि कुछ आके बड़ा बना सकते हैं, सीखा है काफी, वो learning काम आएगी.
बिल्कुल. So what was your biggest mistake that you made in credit period that you kind of would want others to avoid?
I think wrong set of co-founders. We are still good friends as co-founder, but we are not complementary in skill set, right?
Okay.
Right. So that was one. Second, it was more of done out of passion than rather than मेरे को entrepreneur बनना was more of a driver rather than solving problem real. We obviously corrected that. And third, the idea we landed, that creditperiod.com, it was a good idea. The product got acquired by Flexi Loans and it's driving. It was a product which required a lot of domain knowledge. None of us.
Right. Okay.
So these are very, very basic mistakes that we did. And then there are a bunch of more, right?
God, of course.
I think broadly speaking, these three were the main.
Understood. एक fundamental question है, right? How do you identify the right set of co-founders? Like, I think this is the biggest challenge.
Yeah. So, because we were aware of this, so before starting Wint Wealth, I had a list of potential, I guess, 22 people as potential co-founders, right?
Oh,
right. So, one is skill set should be complementary. Second, your values should match. Obviously, your way of doing things will be different, but value and goal should match, right?
Right.
And best that if you, ideally you should have worked together before.
Got it.
Very hard to predict just on some conversation whether some guy will work out.
Definitely. I think hearing all that, I see a good business opportunity to create a dating app, like a founders dating app for this specific purpose only.
Doesn't work out actually, because to trust someone as a co-founder, you have to have a really long relationship.
Okay.
Also, an honest one, right? When you date someone, you have that thought in mind. As long as thought in mind that your actions are not pure, your interpretations are also not pure.
True. I didn't look at it that way, but makes sense, yes. Perfect. So, moving on, I think a couple of questions I have, I think I'll reserve it for the later. But yeah, moving on to your journey, right? Got acquired by Flexi Loans. What after that? What was the next step?
Yeah, so I was looking to explore something new. So that's when I joined Credit Vidya.
Okay.
Credit Vidya was into alternate scoring using mobile data. So I was working on their marketplace business. We launched that. So I was I was leading that.
Got it.
So after Credit Vidya, I joined MSwipe, where I was their merchant lending. So since CreditPeriod.com, I'm working in Fintech lending space before starting Wint Wealth, about 5 years I was working.
Right. So I think that was even probably before Fintech was even a term, like Credit Period was during that time.
No, it was there, I guess.
Okay.
15 Fintech was a term.
I see. Okay. Maybe I think I was under the assumption that demonetization के बाद Fintech ज़्यादा popular हो गया.
नहीं, Fintech as a sector बहुत clear था तब. At least clear memories of seeing like cat events and all, and bunch of that word was there.
Got it. Fair enough. Moving on to the next question, right? What was it that kind of inspired you to take the plunge, leave MSwipe and start something of your own?
It was always clear to me that I want to be an entrepreneur. Fortunately, I come from a business family, so doing business is a default thing to do. So that was I would not it was easy, right? Although I was prepared. Startups are a very different kind of business, but it was always there. That motivation.
So if I may ask, which community do you belong to? Gujaratis, Marwadis?
So I'm a Maharashtrian, right? But my father has a business, so have been seeing him doing business.
I see.
From my childhood. So it comes very natural.
Got it. No, the reason I asked that specific question, there's a bit of background here, and if I can digress for a bit. I think last 20 episodes that I've done, and all the people that I've asked this question, right? Or they upfrontly come and tell me I belong to a Marwadi family or I belong to a Gujarati family. So 20 में से 18 जन है ना ये community से निकले. So that's the reason I ask now. It's an interesting statistics that coming up in the business. But yeah, there are a few outliers, and it's good to see that.
I wouldn't call myself outlier, to be frank, right? I come from a business family, so business is very natural.
Of course. All right. So moving on to the next question over here. What was the moment when you realized after you started Wint Wealth ki bhai ye to chalega? Like this is it. This will work.
I think so. I started working on this in January 2020, right? And product was supposed to be launched in April 2020, and COVID came in, so it kept delaying, and finally in July we launched a pilot. It was a very small pilot, right? But it got over in, I guess, 2 days. And that's when I knew how something is clicking here. Which the pull hai, there is inherent pull, right? And again we kept experiencing that again and again. So we know ya pull hai.
How did you experience the pull? In what form?
So when we did the pilot, we started pitching to people. This is what the product is. It gives you about 9-10% fixed return. It is backed by so explaining them basic product and risk. And people used to say, "Haan, chalo, I'm interested.
Got it. So, sorry, please go on.
So that's when you know, right? There is a pull. You can feel it, and it's a matter of feel actually.
Gut instinct.
So hey there.
Got
You don't have to sell a lot. People are buying on their own. They are showing interest. They are following up.
Makes sense. So, I mean, being in the B2C segment, and forgive me for making an assumption or taking one step forward over here, rather. But it is always notorious in the VC community that यहाँ पे तो बहुत cash burn है. Customer acquisition is probably the most difficult thing to do in a B2C industry. So how do you kind of tackle that issue? How do you acquire customers and how do they stick?
Yeah, no, that's a fair, I think, fair question, right? There is a saying I read some tweets some days back: CAC kills fintech, unit economics kills e-commerce, and stock-based competition kills SaaS companies.
True.
So, like fintech में CAC का issue है ही, right? And for that you have to like figure out a differentiated product offering. That is number one. Second, you have to work on organic channels really well. In fact, before we made a formal launch in December 2020, we had a lot of traction on my profile on LinkedIn. I was already LinkedIn top voice by then.
Okay.
A lot of followers there. And that built trust, that built some top of the funnel. So we work very hard on organic channels. Today, me and my co-founder, we have about 5-6 million impressions a month over LinkedIn and Twitter. And we are still very early. I mean, we haven't like even scratched the surface. We think there is a long way to go. We are putting in a lot of efforts in growing our YouTube channel, SEO channel. We also do a lot of PR marketing activities, not paid, I mean the organic ones. I think the challenge is these organic channels have a certain gestation period, right? Sometimes 6 months, sometimes 9 months, sometimes.
Of course.
And you have to show patience. I mean, if you are playing long game, then you have to show patience.
True.
We are very particular about seeding these organic channels, growing them well, and making sure that founders spend, I as a founder spend time on mushrooming those channels, right?
Got it. No, I think that's a great strategy. And what I have come to experience is that customers that you acquire purely through paid marketing over multiple platforms kind of don't have the loyalty akin to the customer loyalty or stickiness, but they don't have that compared to the people that you get through organic marketing. Even if you get, let's say, 0.5x of what you would get via paid marketing, but those customers will stick around because they've come on their own. I mean, they haven't been bombarded by ads and made to click on one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty natural, right? So
yes,
the graph of paid marketing is generally with time, it actually basically the ROI keeps on decreasing, right? And brand marketing ROI keeps increasing, right? Brand, organic, whatever. So paid is only useful to acquire first set of customers. Generally, they're innovators or early adopters, right?
Right.
But that ROI keeps dropping really fast, right? So that's the point for you to make sure, you have to work on them simultaneously, right? Yeah. In fact, today we don't do any paid marketing.
Oh, I see. Interesting. So, what would be your one tips for a budding entrepreneur who's starting out a B2C fintech company on customer acquisition and optimizing CAC?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not an expert yet. I myself think I think myself as a budding entrepreneur. But what I've learned is, right? Organic channels are hard to crack, but they are also see, when you do organic channels and acquire customer, what are you doing? You're making customer fall in love.
Right.
That's always hard.
True.
That requires deep customer understanding.
True.
But if you do that well, it is going to reflect on the kind of products you build, the kind of money you make, value addition you do for the customer, value you extract for yourself. So keeping CAC low has a lot of second order effect. It's not just good for the business. It makes sure your products are customer centric. make sure your business is customer centric, and you make sure you toil for every penny, and you run it as a real business.
Got
So
it.
it's very important that founders spend time on building brand marketing or organic marketing. There is no shortcut.
Perfect. I think
This
that
is
is
what we have realized.
I think you're right on. I think that is perfectly bang on. Just taking a step back, to the entrepreneurial angle over here. You've done your own startup earlier as well. Then you went back into the job industry, and again you're starting something on your own now, and you're doing pretty well, right? So, how has it been on your mental health as a founder, and how do you kind of manage it?
It does get challenging sometimes. Although I've seen business up close of my father's business up close. So it is bit easier for me. But what are you prepared doing? Let's say you prepare for 100 intensity punch. Once you go on startup, like something will come and punch you in face with 200 intensity.
Right.
And you can't prepare for that. Whatever you prepare, worse will happen.
True.
Even if you prepare for that, something will keep happening. Right? I think you just have to go by it, like saying this day was not great. Next morning you wake up and just fight it again. I mean, what else can you do? And once you get into that attitude, things become little easy. So that is the easier part. Second thing I realized once I started entrepreneurship is before entrepreneurship, I was a good student. I went into IIT, right? So उसमें होता क्या कि you do good input, you will get a good output, right?
True.
Entrepreneurship में वैसा नहीं रहता, right? Lot of luck is involved, lot of strategic decision is involved. So input और output में बीच में बहुत gear leverage करने वाले बहुत ज़्यादा multiplying factor बहुत है जो output को 100x भी बना सकते हैं, 0x भी बना सकते हैं. And these are all probabilistic events.
True.
So and that once you realize that, you realize कि बहुत uncertain है.
The butterfly effect.
मैं कितना भी अच्छा कर लूँ, शायद ये 0 हो सकता है for some other reason.
Right.
That reality is very depressing. Right? But it is also like if you create luck and if you are at it for longer time, maybe luck will take you up. Right? So it is good thing also. Right? But these kind of mental dilemmas and realizations are beautiful when you realize it. But once you apply them in real while running business, these are also very difficult, right?
Of course.
So that is the thing, right? So mentally, I think it hasn't pinched you a lot. It does some of the events, especially some things out of your control, right?
Right.
Are very hard to digest, and you sometimes question, why am I even doing this? But you get up next day, forget it, and again get back. If you enjoy what you are building, you will get back. But it does have some kind of impact, right? So I've seen that whenever I was running my last startup, I grew my weight by about 5-10 kgs. Right? When I started Wint Wealth, I was 80 kgs. Now I'm 95. Right? So there is definitely some health impact, if not mental, physical, if not physical, mental. So there is definitely stress. I mean, you can't say there is no stress and I'm really enjoying every day. Right?
Of course.
There is a lot of stress, that I can tell you for sure.
But I've seen a lot of founders saying, if you want a cozy, comfortable life, and if you're thinking कि 3 साल के बाद 2 million उठा के बैठ जाऊंगा, then that's not the journey for you. You should be fueled by a fire that's going to kind of keep you going in the toughest times to kind of survive this journey and persevere through. And I think your statements kind of align with that very, very well.
In fact, I was talking to a senior entrepreneur. He told me, you have to be delusional to be successful, right? Because when things get tough, there is no rational reason for you to continue, right?
True.
The opportunity cost is higher. Some things are not working, right? But you just have to keep going and hopefully believe that something good will happen, right? And obviously keep at it. But you have to be delusional at some level, right? That things will work.
Yes, I think I couldn't have put it better. Well said. moving on to one very important question, right? When you started off, let's say you started off in the fintech space back in 2014 or 2015 with the credit period, and you probably were in the industry all along. So when you started something of your own, let's say Wint Wealth, has there been a moment where you felt completely humbled, saying, "Yeah, this is challenging everything I knew about the industry or everything I knew as such"? Was there a moment when you started building?
Yeah, lots, sir. If you are actually on right path, these will happen very, very frequently. If you talk to customer, you have complete different thesis, and customer looks at it very differently.
Mm-hmm.
So these things will keep happening. I mean, these are good part of the journey, I believe. Like being right. Sometimes you get so much response. One of our assets on the platform got sold out so fast that our payment gateway crashed.
That must have been delightful.
But we were very worried because customers were very angry.
Oh,
so these are very humbling moments, but these are good to have problems.
I mean, these are the signs that you are on the right path, right? As you said.
Yes.
Got it. Perfect. One final question before we wrap up this segment and move on to the next. What would be your top 3 takeaways for budding entrepreneurs? Top 3 don'ts, I would say. Do's to बहुत लोग बोलते हैं. Top 3 don'ts for a budding entrepreneur.
I think only one, don't start up.
But अगर कर लिया तो?
हाँ नहीं कर लिया तो बी रेडी कि 5 साल के बाद जीरो होगा, ये स्टार्टअप बंद हो जाएगा. You still walk away with zero and you are emotionally okay with that outcome. तभी करना. This is what I've realized. And Y Combinator says is really in good ways. You should not do a startup you should only do a startup when you can't not do it. Like,
I see.
Right? If you have option of not doing it, just don't do it. Right? But you still want to do it for because you have fire in the belly, because you are emotionally attracted to the problem so much that you want to go out and solve, even if it means zero. And if that journey is going to be stressful, etc. And if after knowing all this, if you are in, then you should be in. Only then you should do. Which is what you should not do it unless you cannot not do it. Right? And I think that is the only thing, right? Because there people start in different domains, they have different domain knowledges, industry dynamics is different. If you are a really smart entrepreneur, you will figure it out, right? This is one thing that across spectrum all entrepreneurs go through, is this mental up and downs. Not just mental, I mean up and downs of a startup journey itself. Things will start working beautifully and you'll think I'm gonna be listed and in index Nifty 50, right? And the next day something bad will happen. You'll be like, yaar ki iska kuch hone bhi wala hai. So that's a roller coaster. I mean, literally ek day mein aisa lagta hai.
Interesting. I think that is very beautifully put, and anyone who starts up should be kind of ready for a journey of extreme volatility, right? I think that's perfect. On that note, I think we'll wrap up this segment. Thank you so much. It was really insightful talking to you about your entrepreneurial journey.